Yeah,
Nice
yeah,
morning.
yeah.
What's good? What's good?
What's up, player? How's it going, baby?
Everything good,
Uh,
man. Star testing today.
yeah,
Ugh.
yeah, yeah. I know, and I missed it. Welcome,
Lucky you.
everybody. Welcome to another edition of Market Watch, where your boy Eddie Chinea and myself get together, talk financial news, stocks, and everything in between. You know, we talk about sports. Sometimes we get financial angles on that, on whatever we can, man. But we just trying to give you guys entertainment. Maybe you guys can take away from some of the things we talk about, and you know get a little knowledge on your way to growing your portfolio as high as you want to grow it. Hey Chanel, what's up, player?
What's good, man? It's good to see you again, bro. It seems like we don't do
Yeah,
this often enough, man.
I know, man. I know.
Teaching, coaching, running the business. It ain't like we just got, a plethora of hours. You know what I mean?
And bro, when I look up, I'm like, we haven't done a show. It's like 2 weeks. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
dog, boy, that
Yeah.
time passed, man.
It
But I'm
does.
glad to be on here today, man.
Yes, sir. It's always good to be back.
Yeah,
Always good to be on and giving the people, like I said, like you talked about in the
yeah,
intro, man. Try to give you guys something that you guys can use. You know what I mean? We are everyday people that love the market just like you are. You know what I mean? And like I said,
absolutely.
you get it done. There's no bias here. Especially when it comes to this stuff, man. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
absolutely, man.
Exactly. If we own something, we'll tell you that we own it. If we like it, you know what I mean? Talk about it all.
For
So
sure, for sure.
yeah.
So the first thing we want to talk about, man, let's talk about earnings season, bro. And you know, who won, who lost, what do you think about it, So let's
So
get into that.
yeah. I mean, banks are always going to kick us off. All right. So when financial, especially after SVB collapse and all the banks and everything. So uh, I know that some have missed, some have hit. If I'm not mistaken, I think Bank of America crushed earnings today, man.
Okay.
They did very well. But otherwise, I don't think Goldman Sachs, did as well. I think Schwab did well today.
Uh-huh.
So it's always nice when talking about talking about financials, right? Well, what's the biggest
Yeah.
financials? We got banks and everything. So knowing how they're reporting earnings and things like that, because again, they're the big institutional investors. So, but nice thing about earnings, man, we'll see. If we're going to power through this thing, or if I think the Fed, I think your boy Rome is gonna chill out for a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
so it's good to see
Yeah.
that earnings coming in. It's good to see that there are still companies out there that are beating earnings, especially when the forecast or the sentiment in the market's been that a lot of companies that earnings were good, would be lagging and
Right.
which isn't terribly isn't necessarily a bad thing.
I
Uh,
know.
it's also a signal that if earnings are low, it's probably because inflation's starting to come back down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I
So,
mean, Tesla reports tomorrow.
oh, do they? Okay.
Yes, sir. Waiting
Yeah.
on that one. Look, I'm a
I
Tesla.
know that's gonna be an interesting one right
Lover.
there, man.
Yeah, it's funny because on the agenda, and I ain't gonna spoil it for anybody, but talking about auto manufacturers and what's going on. Are these guys gonna be able to survive?
Yeah.
Some of these other
Yeah.
ones, man. But Tesla, I'm telling you, man, that nobody's got it like that boy Elon, man. He's proprietary, battery knowledge, man, and you know
So
the make batteries.
I think that he's gonna, in order to take Tesla where he needs to take it, he's gonna let Twitter go. That's what I think personally. I think it's taking
Yeah.
way too much of his time away from Tesla.
Well, and it's funny because going back and looking at Tesla, like when all that stuff started, the whole Twitter debacle and everything, that's when Tesla was, trading at some of its lowest points. You know what I mean?
Uh huh.
Well, I mean, it was already in a decline. I should say it was trading at its lowest points because, they started talking all that stuff back in, like October or something like that. Oh, the deal's going to go through. And
Yep.
then, man, from October highs of $312 a share that they were trading, I
Yeah.
mean, you down to getting to 2023 and you're looking at, $100 a share almost. So, has taken up some time. Yeah, I think some of that is. I mean, I think investors have looked past that. All right, I think some of that stuff is like, all right, man, it's over and done with. Let's
Yeah.
go. I don't think
Yeah.
Twitter
But
wants to be something that he cares. I think that afterwards he probably It's a personal belief that after the Twitter deal, buying Twitter and everything, and if the deal finally is like, you know what, hey, it's going to go through, it's kind of like, oh man, and I got
Yeah.
to deal with it. He didn't even seem really like excited about it, man. It's almost like, oh, I got to do all this work. I think it was, kind of like with the whole Dogecoin. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just
Yep.
kind of find a something with, right. He's a billionaire, dude. Highly intelligent. He's something, what I mean, to entertain him.
Right. So what? So what's your take on Tesla for tomorrow? Is it?
I think personally that just with them, going, I believe last quarter they had announced that they were able to, for one, cut their own costs, and two, still be able to cut prices on their vehicles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the fact that you're able to cut prices and you're able to, kind of cut your expenses, I think that bodes well for
Right.
to have good earnings. I mean, to have met earnings, I mean, top and bottom lines, man, looking at revenue and earnings per share and stuff. I think
Yeah.
that it bodes well for them. I think again with this, what do you call it, supply chain. I don't think that's an issue. Probably so now. You know what I mean? So I think that getting resources and things that you need to be able to put these things together. So I think Tesla's going to do well. Call me biased.
So
I try not to give you guys biased information, but I really think that they are light years ahead of any other car manufacturer when it comes to this EV stuff.
that there. So there was this story in the news. I don't know if you heard it though. It was a negative story about Tesla and some kids that were driving one and sort of lost control, or it sort of started controlling itself, and it caused the accident and all that. So do stories like that have a huge negative impact on the stock, or is it going to be minimal, or what do you think?
I think with stuff like that, man, I think a lot of the reaction you see right away is a knee jerk. You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, Whereas you look at a company maybe like 3M, where they've had legal battles. You know what I mean? So it has been knee
Hmm.
jerk that's been weighing on them. So I think
Hmm.
stories here and there about things that are going on. Positive, negative can have a short term impact depending on how big of the news it is. But I mean, again, if anybody's going to do it, the only person I think that beats them to this autonomous driving vehicles, man, these autonomous vehicles, is Apple. That's the only one I can see.
I hear you. I mean, they've been saying, so they've been saying that for so long though. It's like, come on now, either show us something or stop talking about it. Like,
Yeah,
what do you think? Like, I'm thinking Apple is just trying to make sure it doesn't go through some of the things Tesla is going through right now. They want to make sure when they put it out, they put it out the right
yes,
way.
yeah, not like Microsoft. Well, and this is not bad Microsoft, but Microsoft, I have a sour taste in my mouth because of the Xbox 360 when it came out. Them red rings of death, and I had 5 Xbox 360s replaced, and it seemed like they kind of just rushed to get it out, and like, we'll
Yeah,
deal with the problem on the back end. And it seemed like Apple works in reverse and says, we're going to make sure this is perfected. So when we put it out, it's
yeah.
top of line. It meets Apple standards. You know what I mean? So they'll be the ones as far as AI to be able to get it done before them, but nobody's
Yeah,
catching up. I mean, he was talking about something like 12 million vehicles being made. I mean, pushing to 20 million by 2026, I believe, something like that.
with
So I mean,
Tesla.
yeah, yeah, they're starting to put it out, man. So I'm looking
I,
at an article here, and it says that they have a production target of 1.8 million car units in 2023. So about a little less than, what would you say, about a little less than half a million, about 450,000 per quarter.
yep, yep.
It said,
And that's like 2 years ago, they were only predicting like half a million for the year. So they
right.
they ramped it up quite a bit in 2 years.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. Well, again, you get these gigafactories that he built come back online. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah,
COVID hit and all that stuff, man, and Marcus starts doing bad. He has a Twitter thing going on. You know what I mean? Yeah, it took some time away from him, but I don't think that it took that much time. I think SpaceX and Tesla are here to stay, man.
okay.
I
That's
really,
another. That's another one that we don't hear much about is SpaceX. It is other things he's working on taken away from SpaceX.
don't
Like,
think so, man. They still got contracts. They're still sending rockets into space, man. He keeps it private. Apparently, he was looking at getting some Saudi like backers to invest in it, man.
Okay.
Once the money's
That
good.
sounds like a good idea right there.
I mean, you never turn down capital, and he's smart enough to know to maintain, his rightful, ownership rights of a business. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, dude. If Elon Musk came to me and said, "Look, man, I need the $20,000 in your bank account," I would say, "Here you go, dude. Let's go. I'm with you. Let's ride." You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
He's one
but
of the few people that I would ride with like that, you know,
yeah, until he proves otherwise. You know what I mean? And it seems
until he
like, oh,
proves otherwise. Yeah.
people are gonna have, I try to give people benefit of the doubt. Right? That man hasn't given me any reason to believe that he's not going to be successful in his undertakings. Like I
So
said,
now,
production. It's I mean,
right. So
production 440,808, and talking about 422,000 deliveries. So having 18,000 left over in inventories. You know what I mean? They're
yeah,
they're, they're on
buddy.
the move, dude.
Yeah, and they just built like a dozen Tesla stations right down the street from my house. And I saw Tesla. I saw Tesla getting charged up yesterday. You know, they're not full yet, but I see them going there periodically, getting charged up. You know what I'm saying? But uh, Elon,
And look, here's the other thing. He also. I don't know if a lot of people know this. January they talk about the price cuts, right?
hmm
And now in April, like I think right before Easter, they were talking about these April reductions that are again we're going to reduce the price a little more, just so that they would qualify for the EV car tax credit.
oh
Because
really?
yeah, Model 3 went down by 1,000, Model Y by 2,000, and the Model S and Model Y range between 5 and 10. But I'm telling you, man, he's gross margins, man. He's talking about 20 plus, 20% plus. That's good.
Yeah,
Talking
I
about,
know.
margins of like Ford and GM and those guys, man, that those margins, hell, they're negative. I mean, they burn through so much cash.
Yo, yo.
So, I mean,
So,
revenue growth
so
year over year, 51%. Go ahead.
right. Any other companies of note have earnings?
Oh, like I said, it's just getting kicked off with the banks, man. So, I mean,
Okay,
you're going to have
okay,
everybody right around this time, usually. I believe Johnson, I think they released earnings today also.
okay,
Uh,
okay.
and they beat on both revenue and
Yeah,
by seven revenue by 7%. Oh, I'm sorry, earnings by 7% and 5% on revenue. So
they
they and Jay,
do not sleep on Johnson Johnson. They always beat earnings.
they man
Always.
beat
It
earnings and
seems
the
like
stock
it.
price went down, and the stock price was down today. That's the crazy thing. I told you earnings don't always mean everything, but
Right, right.
I mean they're down. I don't
So,
know 3%.
are they a aristocrat or are they a king? Do you remember? I want to say they're aristocrat.
You know
I
what?
want. Yeah,
Look, they're one of them because they're gonna pay that
they are.
dividend, and they don't cut
Yeah,
it. I mean,
and they don't cut it.
they
Absolutely.
don't cut it. Johnson actually is a dividend king, 60-year dividend increase streak.
60 years. So I knew.
Yeah,
So then the king must be higher than the aristocrat. I was thinking
yeah,
aristocrat. Yeah.
yeah. The
So
king
yeah,
is 50 plus, I think, and the aristocrat is 25 plus.
25. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So that's what's up.
Yes, I know
Get you
J and
some
J
Johnson
reported
Johnson
it.
stock. Yeah.
I think Chipotle is coming up next week, though. I think the
Man,
25th.
the only way I'm getting some Chipotle stock is if they split like 20 ways. But
Yeah,
if
I'm
they
with you.
do, I'm
I'm
gonna be
with you.
first in line.
I'm with you, man. I don't know that they ever going to. I mean, I've seen a couple places that talk about raising their price target, man, on
Are
these
they
jokers.
still?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Truist Securities raised it from to $1,960 from 1,800.
Ooh.
They maintain a buy rating. Morgan Stanley
And
adjust
there's
their price
no
target to 1,743, up from 1,600.
and there's
You see,
no rumblings of them having to split.
I haven't read anything about them. Man. I'm not saying that they're not going to.
Right.
I don't know if they, that companies going to go to to the capital markets when they need money. You know what I mean? So everyone
hmm
look at probably their balance sheet and look at kind of how much debt they're carrying, how much cash they have on hand. So
Yep.
there's a lot that goes into that stuff. But I mean, if they do split, I will. My dad's an owner of Chipotle, man, and if I like I said could afford more than just one or two shares, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I don't want to
Absolutely.
dump. And I mean, I'd much rather. There's so many other more companies out there that are just as good
And
performance
more
wise.
affordable. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're more affordable. I mean, just get more bang for my buck. But they have earnings coming out the 25th also.
Okay. Okay. Good deal, man. Good deal. So you want to talk about this recession, man?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, not anybody talk about the recession, but it's is it coming soft? For everything I hear, man, is that there's still a possibility for a soft landing. That it might be a light recession, a slight recession. But I think the markets are ready to power through this, man. I don't know if I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned it to you. I know I mentioned I was talking to my dad about it. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like investors right now, dude, they're out of all this, what I mean? Bear market, the Fed controllers. Like, I think investors are hungry. They want to get after it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bulls want like back in control, and the Fed just seems like they keep wanting to be like just delay just a little bit longer. Like, yo, turn them babies loose, man. Let
Right.
the
Right.
portfolios grow.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh,
Inflation's coming down. You can still fight it.
yeah.
But I think that I think there's a possibility that we miss, or if it
And
doesn't affect us, or we may have already priced in and been kind of affected by that.
yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right. But I think as a general rule, because it's fun to be in the stock market during a bull market. You know what I'm
Oh, for
saying?
sure.
And it's not
Well,
so fun when it's a bear market. But I feel like
correct.
if you can sort of reverse your way of thinking and say, let me have a little fun while these stocks are down,
Yeah, they're
then
beating up, man. Good buying
yeah,
opportunity. That's a Warren Buffett staple, man. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Don't be
yeah,
afraid. I like bring on the volatility. That's
yeah,
what I mean. Nobody wants to see their portfolio going to the red. Obviously, I'm not saying
right,
that I love to lose money, but that's why you always maintain some in cash so that when these things happen and you get some of these
yeah.
stocks that fall to good prices,
So then
you
when the
know,
bull market happens, it'll make it that much more fun.
yeah,
You know
because
what
now
I'm
you've
saying?
loaded up on
Yeah,
extra shares. You know what I mean? Again,
absolutely.
companies you believe in, there's always caveats to all that. You know what I mean? Don't just sit in a damn stock that's lost 90% value, just praying that it comes back.
Yeah,
But I mean, again, your Facebooks, your Netflix. I mean, Netflix going on tear and all that stuff. So it's good. I think that with the recession, I think that presents buying opportunities or just market volatility as a whole.
yeah.
So while it sucks, and I'm ready for these things to go back up, you know what I mean? Uh,
Hmm.
I know that right now, is a good buying. I mean, a time to buy some stock for cheap.
Yeah, yeah. So uh how can the stock market sort of uh power through this bear market type recession we got going on? Is the first thing that the first shoe to drop needs to be uh maybe Jerome giving us a different outcome, like when he speaks he needs to say
Yeah,
something positive.
I think it needs to be something like the Fed's leading is other, probably going to, that one thing that will help is the Fed, saying, oh, we're going to pause on the rate hikes. And they may not have to go up anymore. They may have to go up another quarter of a point, whatever. But I think that by the end of this year, going into the beginning of next year, that cuts will start. And I don't think we're going up anymore than that. And I think with a little bit of news like that, because again, you got to think about it. Inflation's being fought. You know what I mean? They're doing
Hmm.
it. Bring it
Yep.
down. It's coming down. It shows in the market and everything. And if that's happening, the other catalyst to that is looking at these earnings that are coming out. And if companies are doing well with these earnings, then we may have already experienced the worst. Now, I'm no market expert by any means. I mean, we could very well fall into a recession, and the bottom fall out, and the S&P 100 drop to 3,200 levels,
Yep.
the S&P 500. But I think I think there's more positive to come out of this than there is negative, and I think that some of
Yeah.
those things like with the Fed talking about either a rate cut or a pause or and earnings season being here, and if earnings don't come back as bad as everybody thinks, like, oh well, then maybe we don't need to be in a damn recession because we're okay. We've already had slowing economic growth, and
Right.
now companies are still able to perform. So let's ride this train.
Right.
Let's go.
Right. Right. And there are still ways to make money in a recession.
Yeah.
Like playing options is a good way of doing it, you know. So
Yeah, just if all I'll say is you know what you're doing when you're trading options because you can lose money, like your investment, like that. it'd be gone.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
If that thing expires worthless and you bought 10 contracts and it cost you $100 a piece, right? So it costs you $1,000. If
Uh-huh.
that thing is not going the direction you want, it's not like holding on to a stock where at least I own those shares, right? So it could always come back.
Right. Right.
A lot
But
of
if you
but there is a way to
right,
make yes, options is a way to make money.
if you
Period. I love
yeah,
trading options. I love
yeah,
trading options.
yeah. Me too. And you've got to make sure, right, that you have a philosophy or a strategy that you
A
can rely
trading plan.
upon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, but
yeah.
yeah,
But you,
yeah. Understand. For lack of a way to put it, bankroll management. You know what I mean?
yeah.
If
But
you
while you're
buy
waiting for your
contracts,
stocks to go up, yeah, you can
yeah,
definitely hit some licks.
but the good thing is, if you buy shares of stock in something, you buy 100 shares of stock in something, price starts to come down. Well, you can start, writing some covered calls, and collecting
Absolutely.
some premium. So there's for sure ways to make money. And again,
Yep.
if you feel comfortable with it, now again, you better have a trading plan in place. But shorting stocks, right?
And
It's not bad news.
if you don't have a trading plan in place, hit up 81 Capital and they can talk you
Yeah.
through it.
And that legally, yeah, guys, I'll answer any questions you have. I mean, some of the basics of a trading plan, though, man, is make sure you stay disciplined
Yeah.
and stick to that plan.
Yeah.
So obviously create a plan, but the most important rule, even after having that plan, is to make sure you stick to it. Because again, I mean, you find yourself flat broke, man. Then it becomes gambling. You know what I mean? And I don't want people to. I'm not talking about gambling here. We're talking about investing, right? You know
Uh-huh.
what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Talk a little bit of trading, but I mean, we're investing here. So just be careful with with how much you're
So
willing to risk.
absolutely. So now let's talk about mutual funds in a bear market, man. So are 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 they taking a beating like everything else, or is that mute are mutual funds like the same in a bear market as they are in a bull market? Is that what makes them so so good to have, or are they taking a little bit of a beating in a bear market as well?
They have been. I mean, they've taken a beating. I mean, you got to think that they're investing in the same companies. What we're doing with the mutual fund and
Hmm.
even an ETF is basically taking all the guesswork, quote unquote, guesswork out of it for investors that don't know what they're doing, right?
Yep.
So if you can't go and if you're not a good stock picker and you're like, hey man, I want to invest in 20, you don't have 20 stocks to invest in, we'll go invest in a mutual fund or an ETF.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a bunch of different ones. So then they actually have like ETFs out there, and there's funds out there that you can that are like leveraged bear, you know what I mean, where that's how that fund operates. They operate by shorting stocks and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So there are plenty of ways, yes, to make money in a bear market. You just got to be willing to, like, again, sometimes grin and and bear
Bear
through
it.
it. Bear, no pun intended, but realistically, again, buying opportunities and there's ways to make money. Not every company in the bear market is doing bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, just even
Really?
over the past 8 months, look with something like Nvidia. That's done
Exactly.
great.
Yeah.
It's funny because there was something today I was reading about, about bonds and bond yields and tech kind of having some correlation. And now they're starting to show some divergence, man. Like
Yeah.
bond yields come down and tech is still back on the rise. And for a little while there, they were both riding that same train. So
Right.
there's ways to money. There's for sure. There's ways to, what I mean, if you don't have a high risk tolerance, it's okay in cash if you need to. But I would
Hmm.
say that don't liquidate anything unless it's truly, truly lost a bunch of revenue. By that time, you have, you're in it. You've already lost 50%. So,
Right.
what I mean? Just sometimes it's just best to hold, just watch it fees with, what I mean, buying in and out of funds and selling out of funds. So, but
Yeah.
there are, yes, ways, there's funds out there that are doing well. But yeah, they're no different than stocks really in the sense that they're investing in those same companies that are not doing well. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. And the only reason I'm asking is because about mutual funds is because I was talking to somebody today about them, and she has mutual funds, and she said, "Oh, I'm boring." So why is there a stigma on mutual funds? Why are they considered the boring stocks?
because, all right, so now into, too much of the logistics of it, but they have a net asset value, right? So they don't mutual funds are not ones that are going to be up $25, a share in a day.
Yep.
And like a Tesla hyper growth, you know what I mean?
Yep.
It is a little bit of everything, and they calculate what's asset value, right? Take everything they have, the money they have, invest in the companies, and then that's how they price it all out. So if
Yeah.
you're looking at mutual fund, if it's up two, three, $4, probably a pretty good day. You know what I mean? But it's not typically like that. I mean, it's boring. I mean, realistically, like,
Right.
would you rather see your stuff constantly going up? You know what I mean? A tenth of a percent every day, or do you want to see that? Hell, I just made 10x on a stock that I picked.
Exactly.
You know, so there's more of an excitement. But again, this is investing, not gambling. So
Yep.
you got to be careful with that. But they're
Absolutely.
boring. Yeah, what's more boring than that is like investing in bonds, right? You'd be earning three, four. You know,
Bonds
uh,
are very boring.
yeah, so people don't like, people want to see, they hear about people, like the whole GameStop deal, and they feel as
Mhm.
though, FOMO, right? Missing out, like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I'm missing out
Uh-huh.
on all this stuff, on all this money, and don't realize that, this is for the long haul. Like that quick money, yeah, that is great. If you made money on GameStop, I did, AMC, that's great, but it is much more than just overnight riches. So sometimes
Yeah.
boring is okay.
Yeah.
Investing in some boring companies is okay. Like I said, they're gonna be around forever. Altria is gonna be Johnson and Johnson, been around forever. Procter and Gamble, they're boring,
Some,
but they produce.
sometimes it's actually the smart play.
Defensive stocks again. You asked about in the bear market, man. Defensive stocks,
Yeah.
right? So healthcare
Yeah.
and utilities, and so
Yeah.
uh,
Okay. Good, man. Uh, I believe this recession is gonna be over in 6 months. From my lips to God's ears, baby.
yeah. Hey, I'm with it. Hell, I'm thinking, yeah. By June, I'm hoping that like, hey, it's coming out. Here's the funny thing. We talk about you live in Texas. You know what I mean?
Uh huh.
And they always said one thing when I learned when I moved here was that Texas is always the last state to go into a recession and the first to
Yeah.
come out. So
Already.
anybody that's watching outside of Texas, you might still be feeling the effects of it, but I know that here in Texas, you know, gas
We're,
prices going up again. But
and we're gonna make money either way. Either way, bear market, bull market, we're gonna make money.
trying to. That's the
Yeah.
name of the game.
Yeah. So let's move on to artificial intelligence, brother.
Yeah, that's how a lot of people are making their money nowadays, man. Artificial intelligence trading bots, man.
So I
It's
wanted
crazy.
to talk about this because 60 Minutes had a little special on it. Uh, it must have been Sunday night when it came on,
Mhm.
and I didn't know, but one of my coworkers came to my job yesterday and told me about it and explained it to me, and he showed me clips of it, and it was just dope how far AI has come,
Yeah,
just in 6 months,
it's
from
scary.
talking about it, yeah, to actually putting it in motion, you know.
It's scary, man. When we talked about Chat GPT on the last show, I
Yeah.
showed you what that thing could do, and it's scary. I just showed you, yeah, what's Chat GPT? And I showed him. I said, give me a topic. I said, you know what? Look, type it in there and say, hey, write me a 500-word essay on
Uh-huh.
Tom Brady's career.
Uh-huh.
Boom, within 30 seconds. Done.
It
It's
was
scary.
done.
Yeah. And so this artificial intelligence, man, again, trading is moving towards it, right? You have a lot of these quants that are now coming out of college and they can
Yeah.
code and they can code a program that, I mean, I just switched over from Trading View to TrendSpider. No, I'm not
Okay.
endorsing that. Or not, I'm not getting paid by TrendSpider or nothing, but they have strategies that you can go through and test and then you can launch it as a trading bot.
Okay.
It's almost like they're taking the guesswork out of it for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like go through the strategy if it works. So again, self-driving cars, dude. We ain't far from robots walking this earth. We might even be around right now. We don't even know it. You know what I mean? But this
So
artificial intelligence, man, it's legit.
60 Minutes had robots, right? And it they programmed them to play soccer, and and it was like just a little robot just playing soccer, but then, like, as the robot grew, its intelligence grew as well, as time went on, and it went from actually just kicking a ball to uh coming up with uh s- you know how to play the game, and I mean, like like uh like thinking, and things like that, things that you didn't program it to do. It sort of came up with on its own.
Working on its own. That's what
Yeah,
that's scary, man. I read about it might have been Google. This was several years ago, probably 5 years ago, man. There was an article about how they, dabble in artificial intelligence and what happens when it begins to learn on its own and it doesn't need you. And now this thing can think on its own.
yeah,
Man,
yeah.
it gets scary, dude. I've
All
seen
this,
videos of people. They were just matter of fact yesterday on CNBC. Somebody made a song, recorded Drake and the Weeknd's voices,
yeah. Somebody did
and
what?
created and Drake and the Weeknd took their voices, recorded from you know what I mean, and
I
uploaded to this
saw
artificial
that.
intelligence. Yeah, and
Yep.
like 10 million damn times that was played,
Yeah.
and it wasn't even Drake. If I'm not mistaken, I think the song was even like it was talking bad about Drake,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it sounds just like him.
It was just like him, and then they finally figured it out, and they was like, "Oh, we got to put a stop to this." But by that time, it had been played
Dude.
10 million
Oh,
times.
dude, we're back to Napster and LimeWire, and you know what I mean.
Hmm.
This is
Hmm.
going to be the new part for that. People dealing with piracy,
Right.
right?
Right.
So
Right.
that stuff is coming, man. So
Yeah.
cybersecurity is what's going to be the one that helps us, But it's great. Now there is also some good with this stuff, man. You know what I mean? I mean, there's artificial intelligence now that they're able to use. I saw something about where they can scan your face and check for diseases or possibility of a stroke. I think it was. So there's a lot of good that can come from this.
Just by scanning your face.
That's what's sad. Yeah, I didn't read through the whole article. Kind of saw the
That's
headline.
wild. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, you see, they're putting these, gosh, almost like microscopic spiders, almost that they put into people's bodies now to go clear, blockages and heart valves and stuff like that. Now, man.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's look, I support the movement in technology. I don't know
Uh
where
huh.
this is going to lead education. Because, like I said, now you talk about plagiarism, like. All right, you can run that paper through turnitin.com and then say, all right, did they plagiarize anything? You're gonna have chat GPT scanners now, you know what I mean?
So I read an article where
Mhm.
somebody had written a book in like 7 days using Chat GPT. They wrote, published everything 7 days. Chat GPT, and it was a 200 plus page book.
It's
I'm
crazy.
like, yeah,
I was
that's
gonna say,
crazy.
so now you lose creativity. Nobody's creating anything anymore. It's just all computers. All you have to do is feed it data, and train the model, and once that model is trained, it will start to, you know what I mean? And you just
Yeah.
like, hey, here's the data. All you need to do is feed. I did it with we had a program in Python, man, that would do like a ADS, like daily fantasy sports, DraftKings, and all that,
Uh huh.
and it would spit out lineups
Yeah.
and tell you like, hey, these are the guys that have the chance of scoring based on all the data you've given me. This is what we think tonight, who they're playing, how many times they played, how they performed in the past.
Yeah.
So, there's millions and millions of uses for it. Just we got to hope that this is used responsibly.
Yeah. And that was the other question. Uh, you know, how bad can it get in the wrong hands?
I talked to my classes about this the other day, man. And I said, think about this. Trying to have to or having to battle an army that doesn't need to be fed, doesn't need sleep. You know what I mean? You ain't got to feed them,
Yeah.
right? You don't have
Yeah.
to feed them. You don't
Yeah.
have to do anything for them. They don't need gas. They don't need shelter. They don't need right. They don't need
Yep.
sleep.
Yep.
So in the wrong hands. But I'm sure that that's been in the works for years at this point. So I
Yeah.
think that can be
But
very, very, very risky, and
and that's
we have to tread lightly
that that's all technology because
for sure.
before social media, I'm pretty sure people didn't really see a lot of the negatives about it coming up. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody really probably really thought about online bullying. They just said we just want to get people together and have a good old time.
Yeah, no, for sure. It was one of those. I mean, again, the internet itself. Look
Yeah.
what that's led to, man. How much crime, cyber crime, everything. The internet was originally. I mean, let's exchange information. When we take
Yes.
a phone call back in the day, or having to write a letter to somebody,
Yeah.
hope you're at the right time. I have to call a doctor in China because they've worked on this disease before or something. Now,
Right.
dude, that now you can put on a VR headset and be, you know what I mean? It's crazy, man.
Yeah, they created a whole was it called like black dark web, you know, for
Oh yeah,
evil.
no, yeah. Oh, for sure. Let me tell you. And again, the internet started off as right. We want exchange of information, man. People be able
Yeah,
to exchange information. But there's
yeah,
always people on the come up. There's always people out there going to try to beat the system.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So
So
as
that's
I said,
gonna
it's
happen
both
with
ways.
AI too. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm hoping that's not what happened, but there's bound to have there's always a villain,
right,
right? There's
right.
always going to be a group. There's always going to be, you know what I mean, that is going to take it and use it for their own personal gain.
In every
And
movie,
sometimes
there's
they
a
don't care what that comes as at the expense of others.
right, right. In every movie, there's a antagonist and a protagonist, and I mean, in the good movies, you know, and there's no better movie than Life.
You ain't lying.
Yeah.
You're not
So
lying. But here's the crazy thing: you say protagonist, antagonist, man. The movie Scarface, he plays both.
yeah, yeah. You noticed that,
I'm
huh?
not supporting drug dealing and like that. Man, I love that movie. All right, I'm a huge Scarface fan, but you almost like pull him for him at the end. You don't want him to die. You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Yo.
But it's like this dude's being killed. He's just a drug dealer. You know what I mean? So he's playing both sides. Like, that's
Right.
artificial intelligence. I'm going to equate artificial intelligence to the movie Scarface. I'm going
And
to leave it just like that.
you started feeling some type of empathy for the man. Absolutely.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely, man. So artificial intelligence, man. You know, I'm here for it though.
I'm here for them companies that are going to excel in it, so I can dump some money into them.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe that was something I needed to touch on that I didn't like. What other? Because this is what I was talking to my boy about. Uh, if we're gonna because we was like AI, right? And it was last year, but it was so many companies coming out with AI technology. So it's like, which ones do you invest in? It was like the race to to have drugs to cure COVID, right? Like all these different healthcare companies, and they were all coming up, but then only a few stayed up. The rest crashed and burned, right? Because they didn't have staying power. Like, which AI companies will you be able to invest in that are going to have staying power? You know, because there's going to be a lot of them that pop up.
Well, there's going to be a bunch that pop up, and what you worry about, you know, like the whole .com, bubble burst and things like that with AI companies. That
Hmm.
Silicon Valley is going to continue to pump out these companies, you know, getting funding and becoming companies. And how long does it last? How many of these companies can compete with the big dogs? Can you compete? Like, I mean, right now, Google's having a hard time keeping up with Microsoft because of the whole Bing and ChatGPT. So you're a small company coming in. I mean, can you compete with these dudes?
Bill
I
Gates
mean,
got a 30-year head start, man. I don't think Google want to
yeah,
mess with that.
they have you know, they have the budgets. They have they can pay the best. They can, hire the best.
Yep. And
So,
he's got,
I mean,
I imagine Google has cash too, but there's cash and then there's Microsoft cash. Like they got
That Bill
cash
Gates money.
reserves.
Yeah,
They
that
got
Bill
so much
Gates.
cash. They got so much cash that he just got a whole research company. He ain't got to worry about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's how much
no, that's
cash
true.
Microsoft got.
So, I mean, again, if you're looking AI, man, Microsoft, Google, they're all doing it. I mean, all these tech companies have some form of AI that they are starting to incorporate.
Right.
Because if they don't, they're going to be behind. Right?
Yeah. Right.
So when
Right.
people thought, again, not to keep, beating on Elon Musk or anything, but when people thought that dude was crazy, like, yeah, self-driving vehicles, yeah, battery operated vehicles, yeah, whatever. Well, now everybody's light years behind that, man. And right now, and they're in a tech company out there that isn't using it. And so I don't know if there's a company out there, period, that isn't using AI in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
Think of automation, man. Think of the self checkout lines that have been around forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
So these companies that are going to do it, if they're already doing it, I mean,
And
you
it
got to
was
be
a
able to
lot.
hire some top of the
And
line thinkers.
right, and a lot of companies said, okay, that would be, I think Walmart was like one of the first to start the self checkouts, but the other companies didn't because they wanted to preserve jobs, right? But at a certain point, you got to look at the bottom line, you know.
Yep.
and
And
so
that's the truth. I mean, and that's the truth. Why do companies outsource? Right? Why does Nike have their sneakers made overseas? Because it's cheap.
right,
You know
because
what I
it's
mean?
cheaper, man. It's
Profit
cheaper.
margins. We're more
Yeah,
profitable. It makes more money.
they
Brings our
said,
customers more money.
yeah,
It lines
yeah.
up right. You know what I mean?
Everybody
So
wants you to buy American, but they don't want to pay the price that they would have to pay if it was made in America.
right, correct.
Yeah,
So there's a bunch of them out there, man. Again, you always got your Microsoft, Google, Nvidia, Meta. I mean, Apple. I mean, Siri is a
right.
form of AI,
And
right?
that's all you need for your portfolio, about three or four. You don't need 10.
No, God, no, yeah. And my
Yeah,
deal is depending on how many you can have in your portfolio, just don't overgo, overdo it in just one sector. But I mean,
yeah.
again, you got Taiwan Semiconductor, uh, Meta,
Well, I
right?
love, yes.
Yeah, and here's another one that a lot of people sleep on: ASML.
Yeah, you mentioned that before.
Yeah, when we talked last time, ASML. I mean, like the biggest company in the Netherlands or something like that. I
Okay.
mean, they are. And again,
And and I
like,
dropped the ball on that one because I forgot to research that one, but I'm gonna research that one for sure before the next show. ASML.
yeah, man, take a look at ASML. I mean, it's in the 600s, but I'm telling you, they're the largest company in the Netherlands. They are the leaders in semiconductor. Like, there's nobody can mess with them because they have the technology to do this light lithography. I can't remember what the hell it's even called. All right, it's way above my brain power. But I'll tell you this: I looked at the financials today. Telling me, man, ASML is a solid company.
Uh-huh.
I own shares of ASML,
Awesome.
but they're
Okay.
solid. Yeah, solid company.
Okay. So you be keeping this information to yourself, brother. I'm gonna
No,
get
man.
on
But I
you.
mean, I've been ASML for a little while now. That's not something that I, that I just bought.
And you just told me last show. See how he does me, people.
Oh, y'all cold blooded, man. You know what? From now on, you know what? At the end of the show, man, we'll start putting out a company that I like, that I'm thinking about buying.
There you
Just
go.
so everybody's on the same page, man. So I'm not
Yes,
front running
sir.
everybody, I'm painting the tape, or I'm front running in front of everybody. Like, don't say nothing to you. I go buy me, 300 shares of this company, and then I tell you after the price has already gone up.
You told me this $600 now.
No, look, I got in when it was already 600, so it wasn't like I was on ASML for
Yeah. No, I was
for
joking.
years or
But
anything like that. I mean,
that'll
it's
work, man. This is why people come to watch the show, man, for you to give advice. This is what's
yeah.
up. They be waiting on it. They be waiting for you to give advice. So if you don't give advice, you're gonna have a bunch of angry people.
I got some advice for you. Call A1 Capital and let's go.
And let's go. All right, man. That was a good discussion. Let's look at what the future holds. So let's do this. What is the future of these stocks? First stocks I want to talk about, marijuana stocks, brother. What's the future of marijuana stocks, man? Are they go blow up or they go down? What's up, man?
Go up in flames, go up in smoke. So as soon as banks are allowed to get involved, is when I think
Okay,
those things will really take off. I think it's going to take the federal government to decriminalize even further. I mean, across the nation.
okay,
All right.
that makes sense.
I
Yep,
mean, it's growing. It's growing. If you look all around the state of Texas, Louisiana, medical.
yep.
Arkansas, I believe medical. Oklahoma, yes. New Mexico, yes. Colorado, everyone knows. You know what I mean? So it's growing. Oregon,
Hmm.
Washington, California, I think Florida, even medical now. New York, medical. Uh, and some, I mean, Las Vegas, all right, so Nevada. So I think that the more and more that it becomes decriminalized and they start allowing banks to get involved,
Hmm.
that's when they really start to take off. Because I mean, they're so volatile, man.
Yeah.
A lot of them in Canada. Well, great, it's legal in Canada. That's great. You know what I mean? I don't know how much you guys, how much they're doing as far as business in Canada. I mean, ain't
Hmm.
nothing living up there in the damn Yukon but moose and and Paul Bunyan. So I'm not
Yeah.
many people. But you start talking about getting to
Hmm.
America.
Right.
I mean, I think there's a shot there.
So right now, yeah, most of the marijuana stocks are of the speculative,
Type
type.
of there. Yep.
Yeah, but I still think that as a as a genre, the marijuana stocks, you know, that's something to keep an eye on. Like, not, it's not something that's probably gonna hit in the next year or two, but definitely in the next 5, 10, 15 years. You know what I'm saying? I know that's a wide range, but
It's,
hey
but
man,
I'm with you, and I understand what you're getting at because again, this is all these and how they perform. I think has so much to do with one, the federal government and
exactly.
legalization.
And we
And
just
until
don't
that
know when
happens,
it's gonna be. Yeah.
yeah. So like Canopy Growth Companies, CGC. I
Hmm.
mean, right now it's trading at like $1.43. At
Right.
their highs, I mean, they were trading at $53 a share.
Exactly. Yep.
It
Sure
was
were.
just boom, come down, come down, come down. Then it spiked again up to about 56, $57 a share, something like that.
Yep.
So anyway, now I mean it's trading at $1.43. So there's spikes where it's up, where it's down, it's up, it's down.
Yeah. Yeah. And
ACB
you
is
know,
another one. Aurora Cannabis, which is I had owned also at one point, but another one. I mean, they have tanked over the
right.
last year or two.
Right. And I still have a marijuana portfolio that's way down, but I'm just gonna hold on to it for the next 10, 20 years and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, laughing at me, laughing all the way to the bank. I mean,
I'll be
God,
I'll be
I mean,
I'll be in my 50s, but hey, my
that's
kids can
okay.
enjoy it. That's okay,
Hey
man.
man, look, it doesn't matter. So look, right now, ACB, Aurora Cannabis Incorporated, trading
Right.
at 64 cents a share. At one point, Aurora was trading at almost 150, about 150 bucks a share, something like that.
Yep. Yep.
Dude, it's trading at 64 cents a share right
Yeah. And
now. I
and
might
and,
jump on, just
and
go ahead and buy me 100 shares, man, for
I hear
64
you.
bucks.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because it went way up because that was when everyone was on the marijuana stocks bandwagon, and they really thought something was going to happen federally, and it only happened like in a few states. So that sort of made everybody take their money out, and then of course the stock went back down. But yeah, if something happens federally, as far as regulation, yeah, yeah, you need to have some
so
stocks at that point.
yeah, I mean, you look back, I think it was 2012 when Colorado
Hmm.
legalized it. Might have
Yep.
just been medicinally.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not even talking about recreationally. I mean,
Right.
you go back to 2012, and not even some of these companies didn't even exist. Aurora wasn't even around back then. But I mean, back in 2015 when they first got going, I mean, you're
Yep.
again getting for cents on the dollar, and then that thing skyrocketed. So you're looking around, 2018, 2019, 2020. There's
Hmm.
you know there's uh, legalization in these states. All right. So
Yep.
a lot of states are coming on board with legalizing it, and again, that just opens up the market a little more, and you, know, you get a spike in price. So I
Already.
think that as soon as we get some legislation that changes, uh, we're not promoting drug use by any means, but this is a company just like you would invest in Anheuser Busch,
Yep.
you know what I mean, Budweiser,
Yep.
or a company that makes wine, Mao, or Altria MO, ticker symbol MO, have a dividend yield, and guess what? You know what? I'm invested in them. Yes, they make tobacco. I am not that doesn't bother me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
So next stock that we need to know what the future of this stock is.
mhm.
Chinese stocks. What's the future of Chinese stocks?
Man, I thought our market was wishy washy as of late, man. But you see companies like Alibaba and some of these companies, man, they're just like, I mean, boom, spike. I mean, highly
Hmm.
volatile. It's up, it's
Hmm.
down, it's up, it's down.
Yep.
Uh, I think some of it has to do with all the tension that's going on in Taiwan.
Yeah.
Uh, how close uh, President Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin, how close that relationship or tight that relationship is.
Hmm.
Uh, so, what's the future hold? Man, I have a hard time investing, and I've owned some. I mean, I have some Alibaba shares,
Yep.
uh, but there's not a ton of transparency, especially somebody a rival nation that really doesn't care for it too much. We'll do business,
Right.
we'll trade with each other. But
Right.
I mean, they're flying hot air balloons over, flying over military installations. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I almost have a hard time investing money in a company, especially a tech company that is coming
Hmm.
from a nation that really, you know what I mean? I have nothing
Yeah.
against these people, but it is just strictly strategic. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
You
Uh-huh.
guys are a high, I mean, very highly versed in technology, and you create technology. Now I'm investing my money in technology, which I'm sure you are also selling to the Chinese government. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are military manufacturers. I mean, there's people that make chips and stuff like that. I mean, that's so. What's the future of it? I think a lot of it is again political.
So a lot of people see Chinese stocks as having so much room to grow because of how big China is. You know what I'm saying? And then maybe the relationships that China establishes worldwide. That's a reason to buy into them. Uh, Other people see, uh, just like the market that China has, and some of the stocks there have been, uh, are really popular over here. Like TikTok. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
you see
some
what we're
other
doing with that? They're trying to ban TikTok.
this because so now we're at odds with China, but it just 2 years ago we felt like we were buddy buddy. I don't know, but now it feels like, yeah, we're trying to do everything we can to antagonize them, and they're trying to do the same thing to us. You know,
Yeah.
but things can
So
change, just like they changed
yeah,
a few
for
years ago.
sure.
They can change back. So
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's again, I think a lot of it too, man, is I don't want to say propaganda, but the media does a very good job of hyping things and making them seem like it's the end of the world as we know it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like
it's the
it can
end of the
very well
world
that
if they ban TikTok. That's gonna be
uh,
some of the
that
kids.
Joey B and President Xi Jinping are probably sitting back laughing on a phone call now. Like, look at these idiots, man. They think we hate each other, and all because of
Right?
what the media says. But I'm with you on as far as Chinese stocks. Yes, a lot of room to grow. 1.4 billion people.
Uh-huh.
That's a huge market. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes,
So there's nothing wrong with investing. Like I said, I own shares of Alibaba,
yeah.
but I think that they really take off here in America when people feel as though political tensions are not heightened. You know what I mean?
Right,
But I'll
right.
tell you what I like also is India. India is like not far behind them. I think they're like 40 million people less as far
Okay.
as population. They're at 1.408 billion people. And here we are, United States, 332 million people for World Economic Power. So there's a
That
lot
many
of room for
people in
growth there
India?
in China and India. Huh? In India,
That that many
1.4
people in
billion.
India? Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I need
man.
I need to start looking at some India stocks.
Fucking crazy. Man, did you hear that Apple started a savings account
In
that
India?
is paying 4.15% interest? Apple. And I
Wow.
only know
A
that because I
savings
saw it. Yeah. And I only said it because I was looking at an article. What's this joker's name? CEO of Apple.
CEO of Apple, Tim Cook.
Cook. There you go. I was for the life of me could not remember Tim Cook. I was like, I know it ain't Steve Jobs, so the joke ain't around anymore.
Right.
Uh, but apparently, like having meetings to expand because of I think something like 700 million iPhone users in India. So apparently, opening up like they plan over there and not being so as dependent on the Chinese market. Yeah, so I
Wow.
think India is a place. Yeah, yeah. I think India
Okay.
is also a place to look if you're looking to get into. And again, there's nothing wrong with investing overseas. I mean, there are plenty of companies out there that are very, very good. ASML again is out of the Netherlands.
Yeah.
You can find plenty of companies that can perform well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So back to this Apple savings account that gives you 4.4% interest.
Yes,
So is
man.
it is it a
4.15.
is it attached to the iPhone, or is it just a standalone account at any bank you want?
I have no idea. All I know here it is. Apple launches Apple Card savings accounts with a 4.15% interest rate.
Okay.
I didn't get a chance to go through and read the
Okay.
everything that it offered, but
Yeah.
Savings account interest, new offer. Here it is. Boom.
Okay.
All right. First, got to meet the following credentials in order to open an account. So you got to be the owner or co-owner of an active Apple Card account.
Okay.
You have an Apple Card added to your iPhone. You're at least
Yep.
18. You have a social security number, U.S. resident with your physical U.S. address. Set up two-factor authentication. Excuse me, authentication. Uh, so that's what it is.
Wow. And
And balances are covered by the FDIC.
up to what? Up to 250, I guess.
So the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation issues deposits up to the standard maximum deposit insurance amount per depositor.
Okay.
So
All right. Look at Apple. Yeah, they
look, it
always
started with
putting.
the Apple loans. What was that damn thing you called when we talked about a couple weeks
Yep.
ago?
Yep. That was yeah, that was like a layaway plan for Apple.
Yeah, exactly what it was. Go put that thing
Yeah.
on layaway.
Yeah, interest free. Yeah, man, that was nice.
Interest free, 4 pay. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. Okay.
yeah, four point
All
one
right.
five percent. Man,
Say what?
4.15%. That's great. What are banks
That's
saying right now?
awesome. Yeah. What? 1.8? I don't know. I mean, yeah. I mean, savings accounts I think are less than that. I'm not even sure a savings account is at 1%. But
Let's
yes,
see.
you know that would be awesome.
I'm trying to see like what Bank of America's paying.
Yeah.
Ain't no way. 0.01%. No way.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Something like that, man.
The national average savings account interest rate 0.37%. Not even 1%.
A third of 1%. Hmm.
And then
Oh,
they have high yield savings accounts that earn 3%. Uh, but gosh almighty, I can go get 4.15 with Apple by just having an Apple card. Hell,
yeah.
I'll apply for an Apple card and go dump some money into to earn 4%.
Every
Hell, they
day
get
of the week
inflation.
and
Yeah,
twice on Sundays.
they get inflation back down to 4%. Hell,
Yep.
that's a beautiful thing. Hell, at least I know that my savings is keeping up with inflation.
Yep. Exactly, man. I mean that's like a no brainer.
Look, you got to put your money in a CD with Bank of America to earn 4.05%,
Yeah.
and the minimum opening deposit of 1,000
Yeah.
or 10,000, depending on the CD. Where Bank of America, or not Bank of America, Apple says no minimum deposit. Don't worry about it.
Right. So let's look at let's look at one more the future of, and let's look at these uh stocks. Did I do GM and Ford? I wanted to do GM and Ford, man. Cuz to me they're like old school car stocks, but they're like Ford is $12, GM is like $35. Will the stock ever get to over $100, 200, on these stocks?
I, I don't foresee it happening anytime soon, unless they did some kind of reverse stock split,
Yeah.
which I don't see why they would do that. I mean, I just can't see it, man. Again, they are the electric vehicles is the new arms race. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're so far behind, and they burn through so much cash. I'm telling you, that GM and these guys, if you look at their margins, they're awful. Like how they manage to continue to stay in business, I mean, it's mind blowing to me.
Same thing I thought. I'm like, well, how are they still in freaking business?
Yeah, I mean, you look at revenue growth year over year, and I mean, how much cash they burn through cash, man. They get these big old factories and everything, and there's no way for them to. Not that there's no way for them to cut costs,
But
but hell, if there was their way, why haven't they done it yet? Why is that
and it,
Elon Musk can come in, he can pump these things out within, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years of this company being open, and is already like starting to produce almost the same amount of cars. You know what I mean?
yeah, I would think, why hasn't Elon bought them yet, right? But they've got to sell in order for him to buy them, and I don't think they would ever sell to Elon Musk. And then uh, there's there. in the news, General Motors is trying to put out EV cars, right? Like, do they even have an infrastructure for that? But
Well,
I
again,
mean,
they're so far behind it. Not that they hadn't been working on it, because hybrids kind of been around for a little bit,
hmm
but they're behind the fact that Tesla has mastered this thing.
yep,
You know what I mean? And now you're just now you're trying to get caught up to them along with all your gas vehicles. Like it's almost like it's like going to Jack in the Box, man. You can get everything from nachos and egg rolls and cheeseburgers and chicken and breakfast. Like their menu is so big now, where
yeah,
all Tesla focuses on electric vehicles. That's it.
hmm
You know what I mean? So I don't know that they'll ever catch up.
yeah.
I,
I mean,
I don't think they're ever going to be $200 a share by any means.
yeah. So
Gross
that's
profit
my
margin
thing. So
off.
just based, so if you just, because I don't think the Ford is going to go anywhere. The actual Ford vehicle, I think that's such a brand name that it's going to be there. You
That's
know.
hometown. That is America. That is finest
Yeah.
right there. Yeah, I
Exactly.
don't think Ford's going to go. I don't think either one of these companies are going to go under.
Yeah.
But I don't see stock price being into the hundreds. I mean, Ford was
So
struggling at one point to get up
yeah,
to $20 a share.
I
You know
know.
what I mean?
So if you want actual growth stocks, GM and Ford is probably not gonna
No, God, no,
be
yeah,
value stock.
yeah. And if you, I mean, and even if it is a value stock, I mean, it still might be overvalued. But like I'm
Right.
looking at GM gross profit margin for the last 12 months, right? Trailing 12 months is at 14.7%. So that's taking basically all the revenues, all the money that they make, all the income they have come in, and then
Yeah.
taking out all their cost of revenues, right? So just looking at gross profit and taking that gross profit number as a percentage of their revenues.
Hmm.
So all that stuff, gross profit is only 15% of that.
Compared to
So
some
compared
other
to here,
company. Yeah.
I'll pull up Tesla's. Whereas Tesla's gross profit margin, Tesla's gross profit margin is 26%, 25.6%,
Okay.
almost
So
double.
yeah, doubles theirs.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So that when you have that much in gross profit, again, now more money go into further research and development, growing
Yeah.
the business organically. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hell, I think Ford is even worse than GM's.
Okay. So that was GM's you just compared to Tesla.
Yeah. So Ford, 11.5%.
How much?
Margins, trailing 12 months, 11.5%.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
Where
Yeah,
Tesla,
man.
again, Tesla is 25, almost 26%.
Yeah.
So these are bad companies. I'm not saying that Ford is a bad company. I'm not saying that GM is a bad company. All right. I don't own Ford anymore. I did own it at one point. Uh, but I think that when it comes to, if you want to get into the vehicle space, that I don't know that, again, if you're looking long haul and it's a solid company, and yes, they're probably still going to be around, 50 years from now.
hmm
Yeah. But I mean, just looking at price action and what it has done, I mean, they've traded between, hell, over the last year as high as, and I was going to the beginning of 2022, $26 a share, trading now down at less than 13.
Hmm. Yeah. That shows that public sentiment is waning. It's on the negative side for those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, if you'd have gotten in on Ford back in like March of 2020, right? COVID,
Yeah.
you'd have gotten in about $3 a share, let me see here, $4 a share. Now, if you'd have bought it at $4 a share, and you said, hey, I'm gonna buy 1,000 shares, and you sold at $25 a share, well, then you did pretty good. You know what I mean? But I did
Yeah.
not do that. So,
Yeah.
just looking at price wise, I mean, it just, again, they just burned through a bunch of cash, man. Their profit margin, especially on everything else, and that's something that I've been learning myself. You know what I mean? Taking some courses and stuff on financial valuation, man, and just
hmm
looking at year over year. Again, reading all the stuff, on how Buffett does it, which there's some backstory to how Buffett really does it. People don't know. Uh, but just how to value these companies, man, and see like, hey, is this company worth it? Year over year,
Right.
are their revenues increasing year over year? Is their
Yeah.
EBITDA increasing? Right? You know what I mean?
Right.
Things like that,
Right.
and people have to look at
Yeah.
to determine whether or not, yeah, is it worth buying that company or not? You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And there's plenty of information out there, sources out there you guys can use that people already do that, all that stuff for you, right? So I mean, on Seeking Alpha, and they give their own valuation grade and and the underlying metrics, right? Looking at enterprise value compared to EBITDA, right? So things like that, kind of seeing what it's trading at, what the multiple is.
Good deal, man. You you gonna get the people a stock, man? What we gonna do?
You want one?
Just one, man. Don't give them everything all at once.
Yeah, I got people on the hook, keep them coming back, man.
That's right.
So I will give you one, and I will give you one that I like, one that I bought, one that I've had several clients I've put them onto. I'll give it to you guys. It is TTD, the trade desk. All right. Now, looking at the trade desk, uh, I like technology anyway. When I first came across this, looking at it, all right, again, doing the financial valuation, I said, maybe it would be a perfect company to do this on, all right, kind of as an example, for me when I'm learning this stuff.
Hmm.
And just doing my research and looking at it, man, I mean, they are, as far as, cash that they have on hand, and uh, they've been growing over the last, I don't know, 7, 8 quarters, last two
Okay.
years, give or take.
Uh huh.
They've really managed that. Actually, I'm lying to you, the last 4 years, give or take. You just see that their revenue is growing year over year. Their, gosh, why did this, there we go, now it's open. Revenue growing. Uh, so like their trailing 12, the unlevered free cash flow, right? Something like that. Anything between like 10 to 15% is usually good. All right. So that
Yep.
would mean that like right now, I think their trailing 12 months are leading into, as of September of 2022, their unlevered free cash flow margin was 33%. That means for every dollar that comes through the door, that business, 33 cents of that is turned into actual cash before they pay the IRS. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Their EBITDA margins, right?
Yep.
Anything 10% more is really good. These guys over the last, I don't know, 4 quarters, 41%, 41%, 43%, 42%, 41%. All right, 41%, very, very high. All right, growing their revenues by, 30% isn't easy. All right, so you're looking at quarters the prior year. Anything usually 20% or more is pretty good, and these guys are 32%, 34%, 44%, 53%, 52%. So, anyway, going through and looking at it, man, ETD was a buy. I bought it. I still think it's a good buy. It is something that uh, when price comes down, if we can see price come back down to the like 56, $57 range, that I'll probably be buying more.
Okay.
So, but again, I like it. It's
Good,
one that
man.
ran the financials on. I like the way the chart looks. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
TTD. I'm not telling anybody to buy it. It's not financial advice. But if you wanted a stock that I like, this is what I like. I just gave you guys numbers as to why I like it. So feel free to, you know what I mean, do your own
Yes,
research,
sir.
do diligence, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? If it's something that, fits your investor profile, then by all means, want it. But like I said, something that I own, something that several of my clients own.
My
Uh,
man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, my brother.
yeah,
Yeah.
man.
And we gonna shoot you straight. We you know, and I appreciate you, bro, because I'm gonna look into the trade desk and I'll probably scoop some up for sure.
ASML, man. ASML is another one. Like I said, it's a little expensive, but I'll tell you, ASML, I'm a firm believer them jokers. Do research. Go through. Matter of fact, you know what I'm gonna do? I'll send it. And if you can add the link onto this later, man, I'll send you the link to a video on YouTube that I watched about ASML, which
Okay.
just would reaffirm my initial inclination of wanting to invest in the company. And it's pretty good, man. It tells you
Okay.
basically exactly what they do and
Yeah,
why they're the world leader in it, and why people are trying to catch up, and they are, so semiconductors.
already. I'm yeah, you send me that and I'll link it to this video.
Perfect. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
It'll be
sir.
in the
Yes,
description
sir.
below.
Already.
The one I bought last one, man, Paramount, Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett loves it. So guess what? I love it. And I did find out I did the same thing for the Paramount, but I like Paramount also. Para Paramount. I own it. My son owns it. I put my 13-year-old son. He got Cash App, and I
Uh-huh.
had the money in it. Yeah, and he put $100 into his Cash App, and he invested it. So he's got some shares in
Yeah.
man, Paramount Global.
Cash App is a nice little investing tool, man.
EightOne is another one. Did have you heard of that?
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard Acorn where
I
you
need to
can
start doing that with
invest
Acorns,
spare
man.
change and stuff. I didn't know. I mean, it's the chain. I don't know if you can invest big dollars and stuff, but I just noticed,
But you know what, man? Even still, like if it's going to round up every purchase that I make, think about how often I use my check card,
hmm
right? So even
hmm
if everything I spend ended in 50 cents, that's 50 cents that I normally would be spending somewhere else. That's automatically going to be invested for me.
Yep.
Again, not sponsored by Acorns. We need to start getting sponsors, man. As much as we mention these companies, man. Tell them,
Man,
just, you know what I mean? Like, what's up?
I'm gonna talk to you about that off camera, man. We're gonna come with a plan, man. I'm gonna talk
Yeah,
to
I
you
got you.
about it.
Whatever. I'm sending you this link right now, man. I appreciate you guys, man. Appreciate you guys tuning in. It's always a
Yes,
pleasure to
sir.
be on here, man. It's always
Yes,
good.
sir. Yes, sir. Market watch. Uh, every week, every other week lately, but, but we are here for your financial news and stock info. Like the video, comment on any of the segments. Let me know which ones you enjoy, and we'll try and keep them coming. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't. This is Eddie Chinea with EightOne Capital. I'm Erik T. Jackson, man. Appreciate you guys. See you
Yes,
later,
sir. Appreciate
Eddie. Appreciate you, bro.
it. Okay. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy.
Bye.